So as we head into the next cycle of out of the park baseball for OOTP 26, we've got two teams in a very unique situation that this game really hasn't seen before: the Rays and the A's, and some serious questions about their stadium in real life and to a lesser extent how it's going to affect the game. I think just about everyone has done a build or a save for the Tampa Bay Rays and the Oakland Athletics. They're the two smallest markets in Major League Baseball. Obviously you've got the Moneyball genes in both of those teams that make for really fun rebuilds, winning where really that isn't very common and where it really shouldn't happen in a small market like Oakland or Tampa. Well, now, depending on how this is implemented into the game, we're going to have some serious questions about how this stadium setup that both teams has is going to affect the game. So in Sacramento, you've got Sutter Health Park, and in Tampa, you've got George Steinbrenner Stadium. Both of these teams are going into minor league stadiums in 2024, and they're going to be playing Major League Baseball in 2025. And so it's really going to bring some interesting questions into how that gets implemented into the game and how we can make it realistic while also not getting too into the weeds, because both of these stadium deals for the time being are very complex. So first off, we're going to go into Steinbrenner Field. This is in downtown Tampa. It's right next to Raymond James Stadium where the Buccaneers play. The Rays got displaced from Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg because of the devastation from Hurricane Milton. The roof of the Trop was ripped off. The renovations are going to take years and a lot of money that is currently being decided in state and county government right now about how that is going to get rebuilt. The stadium, Steinbrenner Field, it's the Yankees spring training site and the site of the Single A Tampa Tarpons. They struck a deal with the New York Yankees in Major League Baseball to allow them to use this stadium and gain priority for using it for a Major League schedule. Its capacity is a little over 11,000 seats. That's going to be just under 33% of what they were drawing on a regular basis in St. Pete. We've already seen stories about some increases in ticket prices to try and make up for that, but it's also going to be significantly less than what they were drawing in St. Pete. The dimensions for the ballpark, they're identical to Yankee Stadium, so obviously there's going to be a different effect with the tropical heat in Tampa as opposed to the more temperate climate of New York, but it is a hitter-friendly ballpark with those dimensions being identical to Yankee Stadium, and we're still waiting on a solution for Tampa for a permanent stadium. It's not like the Athletics where there's kind of a deal in place. The Tropicana Field renovations, those are kind of up in the air, as well as a new stadium in St. Pete for the Rays. As we go to Sutter Health Park in Sacramento, California. It's got a capacity of 14,000. It's got a little bit more room to play with. I put an asterisk next to that 2024 Oakland Athletics attendance being 11,500. This was a protest year for the Athletics and against their current ownership, moving the team out. I don't think that's necessarily representative of where the Oakland market is. I think it was just a byproduct of where the Athletics were with their fan base and with their team. The Oakland Athletics already operate a team out of here, the Sacramento River Cats. They're a AAA affiliate, so it's not like with the Rays where they had to set up a deal with the Yankees to move into that stadium. They already operate it. I believe it is under different necessarily ownership of the team, but the A's do operate that AAA team. It's going to be the Sacramento venue until Vegas is ready. We've heard some kind of rumblings about how ready that Vegas site is. 3 years seems to be the timetable. It's a long time to play in a AAA ballpark, and it'll be really interesting to see how this gets negotiated into the game. And those two bring us into the kind of the big questions about how this is going to affect out of the park baseball in 2026 and potentially beyond. Will this have a financial impact on the team budgets? In real life, certainly. It is going to be interesting to see how the developers kind of load this financial difficulty into the game. Will the move for the Athletics or a potential move for the Rays be loaded into the game? already as a fixed thing, or is that something that players are going to have to try and figure out how to do manually? There are people who, including myself sometimes, I love to do a little relocation or an expansion in and out of the park save, but it'll be interesting to see how this temporary situation gets loaded into the games. It's not like even 2020 where, you know, the Toronto Blue Jays were guaranteed to go back to Rogers Center in Toronto and move out of Dunedin, Florida when the pandemic was over. That was a very, very temporary and out of the blue situation. This is something that could last years. And how will the game treat the market sizes of Tampa, Sacramento, and Vegas? Out of the markets between Oakland, St. Petersburg, Sacramento, and Vegas, Tampa's the largest out of those markets. Will that get treated as an increase in market for the Rays, even though they're moving into a smaller temporary venue? Will the financial impact on the Rays be shown in the budgets based on what they're having to pay the Yankees for the use of Steinbrenner Field? It'll be very, very interesting to see how all of this gets loaded in. Will players be able to have any budget to play with to sign free agents? The Athletics, they just are trying to avoid a players' union grievance over the Athletics not spending money. So it's clear in real life that they're going to have to find a way to spend some money on free agents, but in the game, will the decreased revenue in the lower ticket sales from what they could get in a major league venue affect the game in a major way and almost hamstring these rebuilding teams like the Rays and the A's? These are probably two of some of the most popular teams to play in out of the park baseball for that exact reason. It is fun to rebuild these teams, and they have a long track record of producing that Moneyball style of winner. And so it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this gets approached by the game. I don't think I've seen anything about how this is getting loaded into the game for Out of the Park 26, but it's something that we're just going to have to keep an eye on because it will have a big impact on the game, especially if you like to play with either of these teams. And the main thing is that we don't know yet. So this is still kind of up in the air right now. We don't entirely know what's going on with the Rays and the A's, but biggest thing is that playing with these teams is still fun. So, it'll be interesting, and hopefully both of these teams can get a deal in place so both in real life and the game, these teams with two amazing fan bases can ultimately end up with a stable stadium site in the future, wherever that may be. You'd love to see the A's somehow get back in Oakland and get those fans back, and you'd love to see the Rays still in St. Pete. I've been to that Tropicana Stadium. It's a really fun place to go watch a game. It definitely wasn't for the larger baseball audience of people that might go casually. It was an acquired taste, but ultimately, hopefully both of these teams can figure out a solution, and that won't affect the game so much that it makes these teams essentially unplayable in Out of the Park 26.